That's right. The India Today is out in the stands, and this is the issue that you need to look at, mood of the nation. And if you want to join the debate, just send us a hashtag, mood of nation, and send us your comments through this show. Joining me now, Raj Chengappa, Group Editorial Director, Publishing of the India Today Group, Ashok Malik, Senior Journalist, Kalikesh Narayan Singh Deo is the MP of the Biju Janata Dal, GVL Narasimha Rao, National Spokesperson BJP, Sachin Pilot, former Minister and Congress Party Leader from Rajasthan, Ashish Khaitan, Aam Aadmi Party Leader. Appreciate all of you joining us. Let's start right at the top with telling you what we said yesterday, the seat forecast. This is what we projected right at the start in this poll. Remember, more than 15,000 people have been polled in this All India survey. 543 seats. We'd said NDA 286, UPA 110, others 147 if elections were held today. So clearly the NDA is well ahead even now. Let's now look at the big numbers today. And the first one, who is best suited to be India's next Prime Minister? Now in August last year, when we had a mood of the nation, 37% said Narendra Modi. Now it's up to 40%. So Mr. Modi's ratings have risen marginally. Now take a look at Rahul Gandhi. In August 15th last year, we said 8% were with Rahul Gandhi as the next best Prime Minister. And in February, that number has gone up to 22%. So Rahul, 22% now are saying best suited to be Prime Minister. He's doubled or almost tripled his ratings. Sonia Gandhi, August 15, 5%. February 16, 11%. She too doubles. And if you add the two, they come to about 33%. Is the Congress on the comeback? Arvind Kejriwal was 11% in August 15. He's now down to 4%. So Kejriwal clearly not striking a chord at the moment nationally. We also asked Narendra Modi versus Rahul Gandhi. A direct question was asked and people were asked to choose between the two. All India 40% chose Narendra Modi and Rahul Gandhi 22%. But take a look at a breakdown. Among Hindus, Mr. Modi scores even higher. It's 40% to 20%. But among Muslims, it's just the reverse. It's Rahul Gandhi here who scores heavily in contrast to Mr. Modi. It's 38% there, or 14% to 38%. We also asked who's the best alternative to challenge Narendra Modi in 2019. 32% said Rahul. Sonia Gandhi was 15%. Arvind Kejriwal was next. 10% said that he could challenge Narendra Modi. 8% said the Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar. And 5% said Priyanka Gandhi. Right at the top, I'm going to put this to you, Sachin Pilot, because the cover should give you a smile on your face. It says Resurgent Rahul. His numbers have almost tripled, certainly doubled from 8% to 22%. But Mr. Modi is at 40%. So the gap is still very large. I would almost say that Rahul at the moment is climbing up, but nowhere close to Mr. Modi. Would you accept that?
Well, let's not forget that the elections were held about a year and a half ago. And the beginning of a full majority government after 30 years is perhaps the best honeymoon time Mr. Modi could ever get. And people gave him that full majority to deliver on the promises that he made. But so quickly, the faith is evaporating. I mean, the promises remain undelivered. And that is why I think the mood has changed. And also, I think Mr. Gandhi, being in opposition, has also led some issues from the front, which have had some resonance in the people's minds. And that's why you see these change in numbers. Elections are still 3.5 years ahead. I think it's far too soon to predict as to what might happen then. But I can tell you that the political capital that the BJP government is losing so fast, it's perhaps unprecedented for a full majority government. And they must introspect as to why are they focusing now today on love jihad and ghar wapsi and JNU arrest and beating up of a journalist, as opposed to investments, job creation, the farmers, prosperity that they promised. So these are very alarming questions which I think the ruling dispensation has to ponder over. And these numbers, to my mind, really tell a different story as what it did about a year ago.
You know, a year, of course, is a long time in politics, but GVL Narasimha Rao, should you be worried that India Today, the country's leading news magazine, puts Rahul on the cover, where in every other mood of the nation over the last 2 years, it's always been Narendra Modi on the cover? Should this start worrying you, or do you believe that the magazine and Raj have erred in putting Rahul Gandhi on the cover? Should it have been Rahul climbing a rope with Narendra Modi still at the top of the mountain?
I think one has to look at statistics from a right perspective. You see, Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi's rating is even better than the NDA's vote share. So actually, it's Prime Minister Modi who is actually pulling the BJP and NDA to victory. On the other hand, you have Rahul Gandhi, who is actually becoming a sort of a burden on the Congress party. He is actually getting a lesser rating than the Congress party's vote share itself. So I think the right way to look at it is Rahul is actually a liability for the Congress. Had there been a very popular leader from the Congress, he could have posed a greater challenge to the BJP. Today, our biggest asset is Rahul Gandhi. So we have nothing to worry about.
You made a huge
when it comes to your cover, I think you have every right to put.
You made a huge statement.
To cheer him up. Let him get a chair.
Yes.
But he's not going to. He's really not a challenger. He's actually dragging the Congress vote down.
Let's settle this argument. Narendra Modi is pulling, and that's one view, is pulling the NDA up. Rahul Gandhi is dragging the UPA down. Do you have any regrets about putting Rahul on the cover, as some would say? Or do you believe genuinely this poll is showing that there is some signs that Rahul is now gathering traction? And to that extent, the BJP should be a little worried.
Sure. Rajdeep, firstly, the Prime Minister's personal popularity remains high. There's no doubt about it. But Team Modi's performance is under question. This is the second time in 6 months their performance has plateaued. And if you look at the numbers, BJP has actually come down. It's below a majority level. So he's under pressure. Now let's look at Rahul. This is a remarkable turnaround. It's a remarkable comeback. And it's riding on two factors, I think. One, the disenchantment, growing disenchantment with Mr. Modi's government's performance. And two, his own, avatar, if you'd like to call it, the new avatar, where he's gone out after he came back on this sabbatical.
So it's the visibility, the fact that he's been seen more. He's out there more and more. It's interesting. The fact is, for a long time, Rahul Gandhi was accused of not being visible enough. Now, suddenly, in the last 6 months, he's everywhere. JNU, Hyderabad University, with farmers one day, even going to colleges. Now, you could argue whether that actually adds up to anything, but he's visible.
He's doing it like Mr. Modi. I mean, he's in your face, out there, going to all those places as Mr. Modi, as a campaigner used to do.
Rahul, the campaigner, what explains 8% going up to 22%? Do we have to start taking Rahul now as a serious challenger to Mr. Modi?
Look, anybody who leads the Congress party is a serious challenger, always will be.
No, here you've got GVL Narasimha Rao saying he's a liability.
No, be that as it may. And 8% to 22% is a big jump. Whether that goes further or not, we don't know. If I were in Raj's place, I'd put him on the cover as well, because this is the most dramatic change in the numbers. Modi's popularity has remained static, remained very high, but static. I have a slightly different assessment, which is based on the voter breakup numbers you gave, where obviously minorities are moving towards Rahul and the Congress, I presume, in bigger numbers.
But that was true of 2014 as well.
Yeah, true.
I'm just wondering whether there's a majority Hindu consolidation on the other side.
Just hear me out. Many of those traditional groups that have remained skeptical of the BJP were also a little disenchanted with the Congress in 2014 because of 10 years of UPA Raj, and perhaps did not vote for it in those many big numbers. Over the past year, has the so-called intolerance debate, some would call it exaggerated, some would call it valid, that's another debate, I don't want to get into that. Has that proved effective enough to gather some of the Congress's base back? It may not be enough to beat Modi, but does that explain the bump?
I'm going to come to you, Kalikesh and Ashish, in a moment, but let me just focus on the Congress, because this is at the moment about the Congress, and play those pictures of what we are seeing day after day on television at the moment, which is the JNU issue. That for the last week has taken over even from Make in India, which is going on in Mumbai. And I'm just wondering, do you believe that this is to the advantage of the Congress, or do you fear that it could result in a polarization which eventually could benefit Mr. Modi? As we are seeing, within the majority community of this country, Mr. Modi's popularity is even high than his average popularity. Is the Congress, in a sense, pushing itself further towards the left, and under Rahul, I would say extreme left, and vacating the centrist space for Mr. Modi? How are you going to capture that space?
Are you asking me, Rajdeep?
Sachin, how are you going to capture that centrist space?
Well,
how are you going to capture the space?
I think it's...
Yes.
Look, Congress party has, since independence been a very centrist party. We were a party that was pro-reforms, we are a party that's pro-farmers, and I think what we are doing as a Congress party is not standing with or against anybody in the JNU campus. What we're standing for is what is right for this nation. We are a national party and we are an opposition party. What we're doing today is not letting people's voice get suppressed. Anti-BJP is not anti-India. You can't use the force of the state to subjugate an ideology because you don't agree with it, and we will fight for that cause. Now, whether you're Hindu, Muslim, Dalit, tribal, forward, backward, makes no difference. Elections are 3.5 years away, but we have a historical responsibility to speak out when we think things are going wrong. If people are beating up journalists, then we will stand up and say that's wrong. So the Congress party space is there in central polity. We've been beaten before, we've won many elections, but that does not change our consciousness. So Mr. Gandhi is reading from the front. We have demolished the BJP in Bihar. In Delhi they've lost, Gujarat they've lost, in my own state they're lagging behind. So you'll see the clock has turned very quickly, and I think the BJP should start looking at their own numbers rather than commenting on our
more and
numbers.
more towards the left. You're not pushing yourself more and more towards the left with every passing day, and thereby vacating the centrist space where Mr. Modi, as per our survey, still holds pretty firmly.
No. But Rajdeep, look at the large majority of India today. Farmers are committing suicide. There is a debt stress. There is absolute agrarian crisis. So when you speak against the poor, the downtrodden, the lower middle classes, the jhuggi jhopdi people, don't think that Congress party doesn't have an urban agenda or a positive economic outlook. But we must speak for everybody. We are a very inclusive party. We are not a left or right party, but we are a centrist party that has a socialist mindset. But yet it was Narasimha Rao and Manmohan Singh that ushered in the reform process in the 90s and even in 2000. So no one can blame us of being left. I think people use that because it's very convenient for the BJP. For the BJP, it's convenient to say that the leftists and the Congress are all together. And they themselves, in 89, the BJP joined hands with Janata Dal and with the left to oppose Rajiv Gandhi in the national elections in 89.
Which brings me to an interesting point, Kalikesh. Are parties like the Biju Janata Dal simply going to stand by and believe that the next elections or the next few years will see this Congress versus BJP playing out one day over intolerance, one day over JNU, third day over Osmania, fourth day over agrarian distress? What is the space for parties like yours in this debate? Do you believe that there will be any alliance politics like we saw in Bihar?
I find on one hand the BJP is sort of confrontational ideology and method which is coming out in Parliament now is collecting all opposition parties together. On the other hand, you have the Nitish Kumars, you have the Mayawati, Mulayam Singhs, who actually hold a separate space and who are very, very strong in their own states. In fact, almost 50% of the states are run by regional leaders. I think this is bound to happen when Narendra Modi falls from the people's values, and Rahul Gandhi can't match up to the expectations. Then the regional parties will continue to play a major role, both in state level politics as well as in national level politics.
But you know, when I see the numbers, Ashish Khaitan, the numbers clearly show best alternative to challenge Mr. Modi in 2019, Rahul Gandhi 32%, Sonia Gandhi 15%. So 47% between the two, Priyanka Gandhi 5%, that's 52%. Arvind Kejriwal is 10%, Nitish Kumar is 8%. Am I to understand that politics is once again going to center around Congress versus BJP, or do you believe like leaders like Mr. Kejriwal or a Nitish Kumar, the so-called federal leaders, offer a greater challenge to Mr. Modi in the future?
Since the 2014 Lok Sabha elections, we have had elections in Maharashtra, in Haryana, in Delhi and in Bihar primarily. I'm talking about these 4 states. And in the first 2 states where there was a direct contest between NDA on one hand and Congress-led UP on the other hand, NDA won hands down because Congress was tainted, Congress was corruption-ridden, Congress was leaderless, and so Modi won the day. But when it came to Delhi, where there was a new party, which was the Aam Aadmi Party, the idea of clean politics, the idea of politics being driven by rank outsiders, the common man, it was the Aam Aadmi Party which trounced both BJP and Congress. So the message is very clear. Wherever the people will have a third alternative, which was AAP in Delhi,
that's interesting,
and it was Nitish Kumar in Bihar, People have chosen for the third alternative.
So you're saying the third alternative is capturing the Congress space. You're saying the third alternative will capture the Congress space where it is credible enough. That's what you're saying essentially.
And the NDA space, I'm talking about the Aam Aadmi Party and the idea of AAP. As and when we throw our hat in the ring as far as the 2019 elections go, we will be a serious contender, and at that
nationally,
point of time,
you will be a serious contender nationally. Our poll is showing Mr. Kejriwal is just 4% best suited to be next PM. You're saying you will be a challenger nationally, Mr. Khaitan?
What I'm saying is that the whole equation, Rajdeep, will change after the Punjab elections. And again, here we have a state where for the first time there is a third alternative. Otherwise, it was a kind of a cyclical rotation between Congress and Akalis and BJP and Congress. For the first time, there is an alternative in the form of Aam Aadmi Party.
Okay,
and as of today, Aam Aadmi Party is leading.
Let me hold you there.
So after the Punjab elections,
no, let me hold you there. You're saying after the Punjab elections,
is going to change.
The AAP will change the equation. But let's come to those questions, because in a moment, we want to look at also the Prime Minister himself. At the end of the day, Mr. Modi is still 40%. When people were asked who should be next Prime Minister, he's still rated very highly. The performance rating of the Prime Minister, this is what our survey says. 58% said good. 58% said Prime Minister Narendra Modi has performed well. Average was 30%, poor was 9%, can't say was 3%. Normally such polls would suggest anything above 60% would have been an excellent result. 58 is borderline in that sense. What is the Prime Minister's style of functioning? 21% said he's pro-poor, 20% said he's all talk, no action. He believes in Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas was 14%, pro-rich 12%, and sectarian and anti-minority 12%. Have Narendra Modi's frequent foreign tours benefited India in the last year? Several tours. 53% said yes. No was 27, can't say 21. So Mr. Modi will take some heart from the fact that foreign tours, a majority believe, have benefited the country. But GVL Narasimha Rao, 21% say he's pro-poor, but 20% say he's all talk and no action. Somewhere is that a worrying factor, that number seems to be growing compared to what it was even 6 months ago. People are a little worried with too much talk, not enough action.
Rajdeep, I think this is possibly the compulsions of the media to somehow show that there are some takeaways from every poll. The big takeaway from your poll today is Prime Minister is reigning supreme. He's actually added to his popularity, which was already at its peak. On the other hand, you are looking for some numbers which will make some news. The reality is Prime Minister Modi is leading an all-time high rating.
Mr. Narasimha Rao, my job as a journalist is also
Rahul
to
Gandhi
point
is struggling.
Potential. Do you see
So
this
you
as a
are
potential
looking at
problem?
some convenient numbers.
No, this is a potential problem area. You don't see it, that there is 20% are now for a fairly large
Not
number
at
are
all.
saying
If there is a
all talk, no action.
Rajdeep,
Yes.
I think you know how political opinions are divided. You have to be a novice to believe that these numbers are based on everybody has a political disposition. I don't expect a core Congress voter to say Prime Minister Modi is pro-poor. He will certainly go along with his party's opinions.
Okay.
So these are not independent voters. A large section of voters are aligned or oriented towards one party or the other. So therefore, questions like this are quite meaningless.
Okay, you're saying
They simply tell you some numbers.
Okay,
There
you're
are
saying
core voters of BSP, SP, Congress. They don't. We don't expect them to praise us.
okay. Let me
What is
let me for a
important? The
moment.
bottom line is your overall popularity and where are you headed.
Okay, he's still the supreme leader in terms of Neta number one, Ashok. But should there be anything that Mr. Modi should be worried about? Or do you believe there's a complacency that's set in that Mr. Modi is Neta number one, no one is close to him at the moment? And therefore, even if I point out he's all talk, no action according to 20%, I'm saying this is media picking numbers.
1 in 5 voters says no, all talk, no action, then it is, you should wake up to it.
I think you should wake up.
the fact is he remains the most popular leader,
Yes, he
and
does.
in any presidential contest in 2019, he would probably still be head and shoulders above everybody else.
That's right.
Having said that, while people are not underplaying his foreign visits, they're saying they're good for the country, they're saying he means well, they're saying he's pro-poor, there are probably questions being raised about delivery, which may not be his fault entirely, it may have to do with his government, with his team. But if I were Mr. Modi, I would be looking at those numbers and saying, okay, what can I do better?
Because, the interesting thing is that we are now told that Mr. Modi wants to cut down his foreign tours in 2016. The fact is, people seem to appreciate the fact that he's gone out there, he's been out there, reaching out to the world.
But there has to be a certain domestic follow-up.
Yeah, but now there is a sense that maybe one of the things he needs to do, looking ahead, is to focus on domestic agendas, particularly in rural India. The big issue of agrarian distress, not entirely captured in our poll. Do you believe that's another warning signal for the Prime Minister?
Rajdeep, you saw what we put out yesterday on some of his key campaign promises.
Yes.
You have to juxtapose this personal popularity that he has. And I think this reflects that everyone thinks he's, a good leader, strong leader. And if you see in other questions as well, as Ashok was pointing out, the problem is delivery. And if you look at the campaign promises, whether it was on Achhe Din, there's a huge negative vote saying that 60% feel he hasn't delivered on that. On black money, which he promised, which is actually corruption, you're seeing a negative vote on that, where people feel he hasn't delivered on campaign promises. So I think part of the problem has been that though he's come out with very laudable schemes, he doesn't seem to have a team that can implement it rapidly.
So it's Team Modi, which is more under the scanner rather than the Prime Minister himself. That's an interesting way to put it. Now let's look at the next big question that we posed. Who is the best Prime Ministerial candidate for the Congress? We asked, this was principally Congress voters. 41% said Rahul Gandhi, 19% said Sonia Gandhi, 8% said Priyanka Gandhi, 4% said P. Chidambaram, and 2% said Jyotiraditya Scindia. 19% Sonia Gandhi, 8% was Priyanka Gandhi, P. Chidambaram was 4%, and Jyotiraditya Scindia was 2%. So that's the top 5, with Rahul Gandhi well ahead at 41% among Congress voters. Can Rahul Gandhi revive the Congress party? Was the next question we posed. 51% said yes, no said 26%, can't say was 23%.
This question is to Congress voters?
This is principally to Congress voters. Should Priyanka Gandhi replace Rahul Gandhi as a future Congress president? Yes said 43%, no said 33%, can't say was 25%. Sachin Pilot, your name doesn't figure here. But, I have a lot of respect for you and the other young leaders, but it seems to be that the Congress party is wedded to the dynasty. 41% Rahul, 19% Sonia, 8% Priyanka Gandhi. You can't look beyond the Gandhis?
It's not just me, Rajdeep. In the Congress party, we have elections, and every Congress worker, when unanimously elects his leader, like every other political party, whether it's BSP or SP or even the BJP, we must respect that choice. The Congress party has unanimously elected Rahul Gandhi as vice president. And let's not forget, we won 2 elections back to back under the leadership of Sonia Gandhi. We lost this election, but look at the comeback we made in terms of the land bill that we forced the government of India to withdraw, the ordinances. We've had a real impact in the rural parts of India, and Mr. Gandhi has now really taken upon himself to speak out no matter what the political consequences. So I think he is leading from the front, which he must get the credit for, and the Congress party in a very short time is already on its revival path because of the leadership of both Mrs. Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi. Now, you can ask questions as to who's good, who's bad within the Congress. That's, I think, an academic exercise. But everybody unanimously wants Mrs. Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi to lead the party. And I'm sure before time, the Congress will be back in the
please tell me what has changed.
Able to form,
can you tell me one thing that has changed in Rahul Gandhi since that sabbatical exactly a year ago? What has changed? Many still believe that his style is still NGO-ish, that he still sort of hasn't done the kind of 24/7 hard grind that politics needs. He still flits in and out of issues. Do you agree or disagree with that?
I disagree with that, Rajdeep, because it's okay for you to pass judgments, but look at the work that he's done after becoming vice president of the Congress party. Now, you may like, dislike, agree, disagree, but the fact that he's doing padyatras, reaching out to farmers' families who've committed suicide, and to be there with people in their hour of distress, I think as a political leader, as an opposition leader, this is the work that he's supposed to do within parliament and outside, and to get a sense of unity amongst all opposition parties. That's the real principal job of the opposition leader. And Rahul Gandhi, really, I think the fact that the BJP is getting so nervous and perturbed is the fact that his voice is getting traction. He's now seen to be with people. He's doing 10, 20, 30 kilometer padayatras all over the country. And I think ultimately the BJP understands that if Mr. Gandhi is continuing on this track, then they have a lot to lose and they must do some serious introspection.
Yes, GVL, you want to make a quick point. What is the point you want to make about Rahul Gandhi? Is he getting under your skin?
Yeah.
He is? He's getting under your skin?
I think this poll is actually an indictment of Rahul Gandhi.
Okay.
No, this poll is an indictment, not at all. This poll is an indictment of Rahul Gandhi.
Why?
I'll tell you how.
Yes.
Only half of the voters, core voters of the Congress party, half of the Congress voters have no trust in him. They don't think he has the capacity to revitalize the Congress party.
Okay.
This is
That's
your
one
own
way to
poll
look at it.
statistic.
That's one way to
This
look at
shows
it.
that people, Congress voters don't have confidence in him.
No, I'm just checking.
Not one way. That's the only way to look at it.
Just
That's
told me
the
this is
only
of
way
our
to
total
look at
voters.
it. Half of the Congress voters do not
Sir,
expect
just to correct
Rahul
you.
to revive.
Just to correct you, my producer said this is out of all the people sampled, 41% when asked this. So not just Congress workers. But the larger point is well taken. Maybe the numbers could have been higher. Maybe the numbers could have been higher.
Okay, but even among Congress voters,
Yes.
no, even among Congress voters, he's not the sole choice. And your poll, you see, you put him on the cover, but the ideal headline, if I were the editor, I would say
Mr. Rahul,
improving,
you ask a question
but
about 10
still
names,
struggling
people have
to
to
be
give their
acceptable
opinions.
to all Congress voters.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Oh, 1 minute. I want to settle another issue that troubles me. This whole dynasty question. There's Sachin Pilot doing trying to work hard in Rajasthan. Other leaders trying to sort of assert themselves. Jyotiraditya Scindia in Parliament. Is it unfair that at the end of the day, it's only Rahul Gandhi that is still the... is it just because he's more visible at the moment?
There are three things. It is unfair.
It is unfair.
It should, the dynasty should not be the only leadership in contention of the Congress party. Ideally, it should be part of many. But if that is the way the Congress is organized, we can't really help it. We can't change it. I think this poll gives me three takeaways. One, Congress supporters, or maybe all supporters, are reconciled to the fact that the dynasty will lead the Congress. So whether we like
it's
it or
all
not.
supporters. I want to correct myself. It's among all supporters.
There's also a recognition that perhaps Rahul will inevitably take over as Congress president at some stage, maybe this year. And his mother will gradually fade away as she ages, which is fine. But somewhere at the back of people's minds, some doubt remains, because Priyanka Gandhi, who's a completely unknown factor politically, and we have no idea whether she's going to be a good politician, bad politician, or even if she's going to come into politics, she outpolls her brother by 10%.
She outpolls her brother by 10%. Should Priyanka replace Rahul as a future Congress president? That's right. That's it. 43% say yes. No say 33%. I didn't look at that, Sachin Pilot. You want to quickly comment on that? That's the real news point in a way. 43% say that Priyanka should replace Rahul as a future. 33% say no. And this is among all voters.
What happens is when somebody is not in public life, when someone is not really actively doing politics nationally as Priyanka Gandhi is doing, she's focusing only on the constituencies of her brother and her mother.
Yes.
So there is obviously that unknown factor, and people will give that high percentage because Rahul Gandhi has been there for now 13-14 years, and people, when Sonia Gandhi was Congress president 10 years ago, people felt the same thing about Rahul Gandhi. But the fact is, who will lead the Congress is a choice of the working committee, not a poll that you conduct and the names that you suggest to the respondents that you put forward.
No, there is a feeling that particularly with Uttar Pradesh coming in a year from now, that maybe Priyanka could galvanize the party even more than Rahul Gandhi. You don't agree with that?
No, I think that's not at all what the question was asked. But why do you think that Priyanka Gandhi will not work in the constituency that she's been working for the last 15 years? She's contributed in Raebareli and Amethi, and she's right there supporting Mrs. Gandhi and Rahul. So there's absolutely no question of A, B or C. They're all working for the common objective of reviving the Congress in UP and in the country.
Raj Shengappa,
I'm not joining the Priyanka issue.
Yeah.
I think we should credit Rahul with a comeback, because it's not just been that he goes out erratically and goes to these various functions and things. There is a plan behind it.
There's a plan, because I was wondering maybe that should have been the headline. Rahul on comeback trail.
Well,
there are signs of that.
We've called it a resurgence because you've seen the numbers.
Yes.
That's why we've done it. But look at what he's done in the past year. in Parliament, his majority is only in Rajya Sabha, but he successfully slowed up Mr. Modi in terms of momentum by firstly opposing the land acquisition bill, then the GST has been stalled, so he's seen as one.
And he's also taken up issues like net neutrality, issues which in a sense are resonating with the younger India. So he seems to be looking for issues that are resonating with younger India.
You see, there is, as I said, a plan. It seems like a plan. If Mr. Modi is all about centralization, the Prime Minister's office being the most powerful, Rahul is going down and talking about decentralization and empowering the poor and the oppressed.
Right.
He is the voice for those, as you've seen in the JNU agitation, of the minorities and the backwards, right, and those who are being sort of people are being vindictive against. And then let's look at when Mr. Modi talks. It is Rahul who coined this brilliant political slogan of "Soot Boot Sarkar" that really stuck.
It's stuck for a while. It's not showing in this poll at the moment.
21% still feel Modi's
Yeah. So it's not showing in this poll. But I think there's clearly, you're right. There's something that Rahul Gandhi has done which goes beyond just visibility.
He has, and maybe there is a game plan. And I think he's building a narrative. It is not cohesive. It is not fully coherent, but he's certainly touching a chord across the country. And that is why we have said that he's the man to watch. He's the new challenger to Mr. Modi. Remember, in our earlier discussions, Mr. Kejriwal 6 months ago was the challenger, though much less than this, at 10-12%. Rahul has overtaken all of them and now is the prime challenger to Mr. Modi.
You want to quick comment on that it's not Kejriwal but Rahul who's the challenger to Mr. Modi? Ashish Khaitan, quick comment.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a very quick comment, Rajdeep, that where I find this survey a little uncertain and is that the era of dynasty politics is over. Your survey clearly shows that for the general voter, for the common man, Congress party is equivalent to the Gandhi dynasty. So the era of dynastic politics, the era of one family ruling the country is over. And that's where I find that Rahul Gandhi making padyatras or Rahul Gandhi reaching out to the young India, it is all happening from a position of privilege.
Right.
And entitlement. The young India, the India of today, the India of 2016 is not going to connect with Rahul, is not going to connect with Congress, and the tea seller, the one tea seller who is the Prime Minister of India is going to be displaced by another common man and not by a dynast.
Okay. Interesting perspective there, but one final question before I take a break here. Performance of Amit Shah as BJP president. 38% said good. Amit Shah's performance is good. 38% said the performance of Amit Shah is average. Poor was 8%. GVL Narasimha Rao, quick comment on Mr. Amit Shah. Is this some kind of a Jodi number one where Amit Shah continues to play Sancho Panza to Narendra Modi as Don Quixote? There's a feeling while Mr. Modi is pushing Make in India, it's Amit Shah who's pushing the nationalism agenda on issues like JNU, saying no compromise. Is he the old Hindutva warrior to Narendra Modi trying to reinvent himself as some kind of a governance icon? Is that how this is going to play out now? Despite the defeat in Bihar, despite the defeat in Delhi, is he still your strategist who will play this card?
Rajdeep, I think when you look at somebody's term, you look at it in its entirety. Look at the amount of the kind of victories that this combined has delivered to the party in states like Maharashtra, Jammu and Kashmir, Jharkhand, Haryana, a state where we didn't have any presence. So certainly look at the overall performance. He comes out with a very high percentage of marks, comes out with distinction.
Strategy? Is his strategy based on going back to nationalism, particularly with UP coming? With UP coming, there is talk of polarizing voters, of raising issues like Ram Mandir again. Is this going to be Amit Shah back to 2014 kind of politics? We saw what the kind of politics that was played out in the aftermath of the Muzaffarnagar riots. Are we going to see a much more aggressive, strident Amit Shah on issues of nationalism, Hindutva in the next 1 year ahead of UP? Is that the kind of mandate, even while Mr. Modi talks of Make in India and Startup India?
Rajdeep, unlike the Congress party, which has no ideology except somehow desperately trying to drum up public support, right. We are a party with a clear ideology. Our position on all the issues is known. So do we expect our party president to raise issues that really constitute our unique ideology? the unique ideology is that what Prime Minister has often expressed. Sabka saath, sabka vikas.
So, but sabka saath, sabka vikas, that's my point. The Prime Minister talks of sabka saath, sabka vikas in a Muzaffarnagar or in a Faizabad. The ideology seems very different. I'm just wondering, is this a Jodi number one? Where one member of the Jodi is playing one kind of politics and Amit Shah is playing another? You don't agree with that?
I think people have rejected these hypotheses.
Okay.
No, Rajdeep, people have rejected such claims about BJP.
Okay. That's Ashok, you want to
BJP
give
is a party that appeals to the entire cross-section of the
slightly more 30 seconds, Ashok. Is there a sense that Amit Shah has to play this alternate to Narendra Modi's brand of politics?
The fact is,
more driven by the RSS, more driven by Hindutva politics?
He has to be more cognizant of the organization. If you look at his 1.5 years as party president, the first half went very well. He delivered dream victories in Haryana and Maharashtra, taking big gambles.
Yes.
The 2015 was a bit of a disaster because Delhi was a disaster, Bihar was a disaster. So if one of those elections had gone well, that 38% good rating would have been closer to 50%.
But you don't see any change in his strategy, the kind of politics that he's now going to
Well, I think now that he has a full term, he needs to build a party for the future, which has not happened yet.
I'm just wondering whether the building blocks of that party will be going back to some of the politics that we saw in the 1990s. Let's leave it. Mood of the nation. India Today's exhaustive, exclusive poll of the national mood in February 2016. That's what we are bringing you, the findings. Let's turn to the other big finding. Who is the most popular chief minister in the country? Now, 15% said Nitish Kumar. Arvind Kejriwal was 15%. So they were the two top choices. Mamta Banerjee, who goes to the polls, of course, in a few months in Bengal, was next at 8%. Chandrababu Naidu was 5%, the Andhra chief minister. Shivraj Singh Chauhan, the three-time Madhya Pradesh chief minister, was at 5% as well. Now, we also asked within their home state, when we polled within each person's home state, who are the most popular. But let's first give you a sense of that. Most popular in home state, 83% was Nitish Kumar. 83% was K. Chandrasekhar Rao, interesting, of Telangana. Shivraj Singh Chauhan, 80%. Naveen Patnaik, who's often topped this poll, was 79%. And Raman Singh was 74%. We asked, remember, Punjab is another big election. And this is an interesting finding that we've got. Kejriwal is ahead of even Prakash Singh Badal among voters in Punjab, 35% to 23% as a chief ministerial candidate in Punjab. Ashish Khaitan, that is the best news that you could get. So far, the Aam Aadmi Party could perhaps nationally, Kejriwal doesn't seem to be resonating, but in Punjab itself, you seem to have done something. What is it that the party has done in Punjab that is making Kejriwal so popular there? Can he be your CM candidate? You don't even have one.
See, Rajdeep, this finding of your survey further vindicates what I said right at the start of your program, that wherever we have thrown a challenge and we have thrown our hat in the ring, we are ahead of both BJP, NDA and Congress party. And you can see in Punjab that as of today, we are ahead, and we are ahead by miles of both the Congress and the Akalis and the BJP. People are yearning for change. People are looking for alternative politics, and people are looking for clean politics. And as of today, the voter is seeing, and just let me complete this point. The taint of Congress, the taint of corruption of Congress is still not forgotten. On the other hand, the Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas has turned out to be a mere jumla, and what people are witnessing is demagoguery and authoritarianism and a kind of communal disharmony, which is tearing apart the social fabric of this country. There's only one party that people can see, which is Aam Aadmi Party, which can deliver clean government and a governance driven by agenda of development.
You know that people are still, you are still on test on that in Delhi. There are conflicting views on whether you are really providing governance or whether the kind of politics that the Aam Aadmi Party calls alternative is truly alternative.
This JNU.
No, just a minute. Ashok, you wanted to make
incident has vindicated our fight.
Okay, that's your view. Yes, quickly.
While Rahul is on the cover and Raj says he's moving towards a coherent plan, underpinning the coherent plan should be a party organization. And these numbers tell us there's a problem there. I'll tell you why. Look at the 5 most popular chief ministers in their states. Not one is a Congress chief minister.
Very interesting. Again, a very good point.
You look at Punjab, where, as Ashish says, and as political intelligence says, Akali should have been challenged by the Congress conventionally. Actually, AAP is challenging them and probably going to beat them. If you look at 2 elections coming up in Assam and in Kerala, Congress chief ministers face a tough challenge.
Excellent point, which I want to take to you, Sachin Pilot. You know, it's one thing to have Rahul Gandhi's personal popularity growing, but not a single chief minister or chief ministerial candidate of yours figures. Certainly no chief minister figures in the most popular CMs. And you've got elections coming up where you're in power. Uman Chandi in Kerala, Uttarakhand, Harish Rawat. You'll go to Karnataka in 2 years' time, Siddharamaiah. All your chief ministers are under pressure.
Shivraj Singh and Raman Singh are 3-term chief ministers.
That's right. 3-term chief ministers of the BJP are doing better than Congress chief ministers. And Yogendra Yadav once told me that once the Congress loses a state twice in a row, it doesn't come back to power. So the rule, the equation in Punjab is not good. You don't have good chief ministers. That's your other problem. The BJP chief ministers are better than yours.
Rajdeep, there is no formula. There is no formula in politics to say that once you lose, you can't win again. First of all, I want to just have a word of caution about Punjab. Now, I don't know your survey and you're saying that Aam Aadmi Party has got an edge in Punjab. Elections are still a few months away, almost a year. I think let's not pass judgments a year before even the polls are announced. But I do believe that the Aam Aadmi Party has much to prove in Delhi before it starts thinking about national ambitions and what they will do. They're free to do so, but I think it's far too early.
No, you didn't answer my question. Why aren't you throwing up good chief ministers? Why are you not throwing up good chief ministers?
I don't think that's true.
All your chief ministers are under scanner.
Rajdeep, we had
Veerbhadra Singh has cases against him.
There is a Vyapam scam in Madhya Pradesh. There is a Vyapam scam in Madhya Pradesh, a PDS scam in Chhattisgarh. All these things, elections are coming. Don't worry. The real results about the polls. We had Sheila Dikshit, 3-term chief minister. Tarun Gogoi is a 3-term chief minister. Bhupendra Hooda was twice chief minister.
Yes.
So our CMs are getting repeated. It's wrong to say that Congress CMs don't get repeated.
You know,
Rajshekar Reddy was 2-time chief minister. Vilasrao Deshmukh again. So
sir,
I think it's wrong to just categorize
Congress has lost 2 elections in a row, it doesn't come back. But I forgot about Tarun Gogoi, but he's also a chief minister under pressure. So I'm just wondering, why is the Congress not throwing up as chief ministers as strong as the BJP? But Kalikesh, since you haven't spoken much today, let me tell you the figure. Naveen Patnaik is now 4th most popular among those in their home state, but doesn't figure among the top 5. There was a time when he was always in the top 5. Has something gone wrong in Odisha, or do you believe this poll is unfair to Naveen Patnaik?
No, not at all. I think 79% of the people who voted still find him to be the most popular chief minister in the home state. BJP has been focusing on the home state, and we've been, we've been very Odisha-centric. We are focused on that, and we work with Odisha as our main objective. We haven't really been putting up candidates in any other states. So I think it's a question of projection. If ever Naveen Patnaik decides to project himself nationally, I think he'll find a lot of takers. But for the time being, we are focused on the state.
Okay, Raj, I just want to bring you in on that. The one person I haven't looked at is Nitish Kumar. 3 months ago scored a famous victory, and there was a feeling that he could be the challenger to Narendra Modi, the kind of figure around whom the entire opposition could crystallize. Do you believe that we should look at Nitish Kumar more seriously? He is the most popular chief minister in the country at the moment, perhaps because his victory was the most recent as well. So he's in the public imagination.
You know, since his victory has been recent, I would suspect in the next 6 months you would see that change. In this 6 months, it's been Mr. Rahul Gandhi who's made the biggest impact, and therefore he's reaping the benefits of that in this particular poll.
But do you see Nitish Kumar as a long-term challenger to Narendra Modi?
I mean, you cannot rule out the third front at all. They are as strong as the Congress in most of our polls. And if they come up with a cohesive plan, they come up with a combined narrative of sorts, they would certainly prove the alternative. Right now, it's still the Congress that is the main challenge.
VP Singh always said the third front is always feasible, but possibly not desirable, which is another view of looking at the third front. But yes, you wanted to make a point, GBL Narasimha Rao. Go ahead. Yes, Mr. Rao.
I think, you see, what a lot of leaders have really been, some leaders have been in the news like Kejriwal, but then they have only been having decibel levels and hardly any delivery. So they don't, people only who are rated highly in their home states consecutively for several years can really make a mark. I hope you recall, Prime Minister Mr. Modi was the best chief minister on India Today for more than a decade. continuously for 11, 12 years, for all 10 years. So that's the kind of a performance you have to deliver. Nitish is already slipping. We've just won a by-election with a thumping majority, and Kejriwal is simply making only decibel levels and no delivery whatsoever. And your own polls show that the numbers that you predicted for NDA today are the numbers you predicted for us in 2014 as well. So the reality is the NDA, according to my own assessment, is actually improved its position compared to 2014. If you want, for your benefit, I can read out your numbers for 2014 Lok Sabha projections. You projected 272 to 282 for the NDA. We have actually won 330 plus. So you are projecting the same number for us today, 270, 280. Reality could be 330 plus.
Okay,
so I think the NDA continues to be extremely popular all over the country. We have no challenger whatsoever. Rahul is struggling to appeal to his own party members.
You're saying there's a Tina factor. There is no alternative to Narendra Modi is what the BJP is saying, which makes you feel very comfortable. I can see you wearing your cephalogist hat when you put out those numbers, GVL Narasimha Rao. But I would also add a word of caution. We are still 2.5 years away from those 2019 elections, and a lot can change. But yes, for now it's very clear that even in the wider sense, Mr. Modi remains Neta number one, even as Rahul is showing a rise. I want to take a final break at this point. When we return, we'll come back with an interesting question. Who is India's best Prime Minister ever? And final takeaways from all our panelists as we conclude the Mood of the Nation poll. One final time to the Mood of the Nation poll, the India Today exclusive poll available to you tomorrow on the stands, or this evening really on the stands of India Today. Resurgent Rahul is what the poll is saying. So let's give you the big takeaways before we get final comments. Narendra Modi is still India's Neta number one. Rahul Gandhi is gaining and gaining rapidly, but he still lags behind in the prime ministerial race. Sonia Gandhi also is still gaining. Arvind Kejriwal remains a distant fourth place in a prime ministerial race. Importantly, Rahul is now seen as the best alternative to take on Mr. Modi. Mr. Modi's approval ratings are very high. Even now, over 50% still see his foreign trips as a good idea. And over 50% see Rahul as the best bet for a Congress revival. Nitish Kumar and Kejriwal are the most popular chief ministers in India. These are some of the big takeaways at the moment. I want to go right around our panel to get quick takeaways from you. Raj, what's your biggest takeaway from this poll?
Well, I think
30 seconds each.
That's quick. Mr. Modi must take this as a warning. He needs to come out, move faster. He must have a what I would call a shock and
despite the 60% approval ratings, you think he still needs a shock and awe policy?
Yes, because his policy, economic policy, is so far seen as gradualism. If you see the other questions, people feel he's not delivering. He's got the budget to make a chance to redeem himself on some of these things and come up with some extraordinary or structural reforms that will enliven the people.
Your big takeaway, because economy is a question. There's too much of gradualism, many believe. You need now action on the ground.
No, despite the shortcomings of the government, and there have been shortcomings, let's appreciate that.
Your big takeaway?
In a presidential contest, Mr. Modi is still difficult to beat.
And you think he will play 2019, therefore, in the build-up again as presidential? That's what he's most comfortable with.
If I were the opposition, I would not make it presidential.
Interesting. I think that's an interesting way to look at it. Mr. Modi will continue to see elections as presidential. Your big takeaway, Sachin Pilot, from this poll?
Well, I think 19 months into a government with the full majority, it's honeymoon time. And I think Mr. Modi is still getting benefit of that doubt that people are still waiting to have their expectations delivered. But like you said earlier, I think the fact that the economy is not doing as well, the blame on Parliament for not doing non-executive, I mean, you can do executive reforms. The reforms that have been installed. I think the economy, job creation, investments, etc., much slower than expected. And what he's doing today, the results are going to come perhaps a few years time because the process is very slow. So the BJP team Modi, I think, certainly has got a thumbs down as far as the poll is concerned.
So you're also saying Team Modi has got a thumbs down, even as the Prime Minister retains high approval ratings. I don't know about a 19-month honeymoon. That seems a rather extended honeymoon. But GVL Narasimha Rao, your big takeaway?
I think it's a thumbs up for the Modi government from the people of the country. I think they expect, they believe the government is on the right course and is delivering on its promises. And people see Prime Minister Modi as a transformatory politician who has actually made a huge departure from the past. So our job in the next 3 years would be to continuously work towards delivering to the highest expectations of the people and ensure vanquish opposition altogether. It's already struggling. They don't seem to pose a challenge to us today, but our job is to ensure we are able to vanquish the opposition.
Vanquish, when I hear words like vanquish, I get very worried. What was the word that Amit Shah used for the Congress? That he wants to virtually decimate the Congress and eliminate the Congress from every part of the country. Ashish Khaitan, your last takeaway?
I would say that this would be the quickest loss of hope in India's electoral history that we have seen, that in 1.5 years, almost 80% people believe that he is not pro-poor, 20% believe that he is all talk, no action.
No, that's not true.
Almost 86% people believe.
No, that's not true. That's not entirely true, because the way we frame the question is we ask them what are the categories that, do you see him as pro-poor? 21% said. The next factor was all talk, no action. So it's not entirely true that the rest of them necessarily believe he's anti-poor. So I think we need to clarify that, Ashish. So you're saying hope has diminished.
Okay, fine.
Your larger point is you're saying hope has gone. Hope is slowly seeping away.
Absolutely. So as I said, that he has been a big loss of hope.
Yes.
Because what we are seeing is that he is out there, very remote.
Yes.
He is not connected with the ground politics and the ground realities of a country anymore. While he is busy doing event after event, there are subgroups that have taken over and they are meandering towards anarchy, violence and absolute authoritarianism, and that has completely hijacked the agenda of Sabka Saath Sabka Vikas. It is reduced to a mere slogan, and that's a big cause of worry, and that should, I think, wake up, serve as a alarm bell for this government.
Okay, I'm going to authoritarian. You say that this is a government which is disconnected with the people. That's a stinging criticism, but then the Aam Aadmi Party would be expected to criticize the Prime Minister, which is why I'm going to ask all of you at the end, who is India's best ever Prime Minister? This is what our survey says. 26% of those who were polled said Indira Gandhi was India's best ever Prime Minister. Atal Bihari Vajpayee was next with 16%. Narendra Modi was third with 14%. Jawaharlal Nehru was fourth with 12%. Lal Bahadur Shastri was 7%. Rajiv Gandhi was 7%. So the best Prime Minister at the moment that India has ever had, as per our survey, is Indira Gandhi with 26%. That's interesting. GVL Narasimha Rao, I'm sorry to disappoint you. Mr. Modi is not number one when it comes to Prime Ministers of all time. I know that you would like to perhaps believe that. He's even behind Atalji. I hope you are willing to accept that.
Rajdeep,
yes.
I don't want to quarrel with your survey and then give my own interpretation without keeping the numbers in focus.
Yes.
I think look at Prime Minister Modi has been in office only in the last 20 months.
Yes.
And Indira Gandhi was Prime Minister for a long time. Despite all her follies, all the negatives, I think there is some level of connect that Indira Gandhi had. And certain level of familiarity and popularity.
Which is my question. Mr. Modi has the charisma. Is he losing the connect?
BJP critics, Prime Minister Modi.
Mr. Modi has the charisma. Does he retain the grassroots connect, particularly with rural India?
20 months. I think he's going to surpass Indira Gandhi.
Okay, he's going to surpass Indira Gandhi.
I think we have to have faith in your own poll.
Okay.
If you and India Today editor,
yes.
I think Mr. Rajchangappa, most of his comments do not show any faith in the poll.
No, that's not
Let's
true.
give some credibility to the poll and then comment on this.
Okay.
Prime Minister Modi had been in office only for 20 months.
Okay.
I think let him complete 5 years. He would emerge without a doubt, as the most popular Prime Minister ever. But he has to run his course.
Sir, just a minute.
It will take some time, but it is bound to happen.
I would have thought you would have said he'll be just close to Vajpayee ji, but you've chosen not to say that. But Sachin Pilot, and on the other hand, you need an Indira Gandhi. Where is your Indira Gandhi? Let's be clear, Rahul Gandhi is no Indira Gandhi, neither is Sonia Gandhi. So you actually need a comeback woman, comeback Prime Minister like Mrs. Gandhi, who rides an elephant to Belchi and wins elections in 80. Also, Narendra Modi is not Morarji Desai or Charan Singh. So 2019 is going to be difficult without an Indira Gandhi-like figure.
Rajdeep, neither has Mrs. Gandhi or Rahul Gandhi ever tried to be Indira Gandhi. They tried to emulate her and follow her leadership in the Congress party. But listen, times change. History has now shown us that Indira Gandhi remains the most popular leader. We are proud of her. In fact, the magnanimity of the politics of our country, that you appreciate leaders from the opposition. I think Vajpayee ji was a genuine leader of this country. He was a prime minister. We respected him. But what's happening today is the kind of exclusion, the kind of imposing of ideology,
Mr. Modi? No, hold on.
Sachin Pilot. To get.
No, should you not respect Narendra Modi also? Why should you not respect Narendra Modi? He's also the Prime Minister.
Absolutely. Listen, he has won the election. He is my Prime Minister. He should get all the respect in the world. And as Indian citizen, I respect him as a Prime Minister. But what he and his government are trying to do is different from what Vajpayee did. Same party, same position. There is a difference between Mr. Vajpayee and Mr. Modi. I have the right to tell you that there is a difference between the two leadership.
What's the difference?
And that's fair.
What's
I can
the
still
difference?
respect him, but disagree with the way he's doing his politics.
What's the difference?
Because Mr. Vajpayee was inclusive. He had the magnanimity of heart and the consciousness of a righteous politician to have an engagement of dialogue. He didn't use the state and the police to subjugate other people's ideology, which is what the BJP today is doing, unfortunately.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Yes, Ashok, you want to give a historical final word? Next year's 100 years, I must tell our viewers, since Indira Gandhi's birth. So in a centenary year, we still see her as India's most popular Prime Minister.
One, it's too early to judge Modi in the context of history.
Yes.
Number two, in my personal opinion, Nehru should top that list, not Indira Gandhi. That's my opinion.
Yes.
Third,
that's my opinion too. But
having said that,
but Indira had a mass connect.
These polls represent what people think at the moment.
Yes.
What do we remember Indira most for? Strong leadership and pro-poor.
Yes.
If you look at the polls, Modi is single biggest attribute pro-poor and seen as a strong leader. So that perhaps tells us something about today's India.
Let's leave it there, because many will say that Indira, in a sense, or Narendra Modi, if there's any Prime Minister he actually models himself on, for good or bad, it seems to be Indira Gandhi. Let's leave it there. That's another controversy for another day. But Raj Chengappa, pleasure having you. All the best with the issue and all the controversy that it generates. Controversy means more books more magazines will be sold. Ashok Malik, thanks for joining us. Ashish Khaitan, pleasure having you, along with Sachin Pilot and GVL Narasimha Rao. Mood of the Nation. Go and buy your copy, and we'll see how things change in our next poll in August this year. Till then, goodbye.
The Jawaharlal Nehru University Students' Union President Kanhaiya Kumar has moved Supreme Court for bail in the sedition case that's been filed against him. The Supreme Court is to hear his